HF fans, all NFL fans, actually, we are going to be looking at Bo Nix today, and we're really going to be digging deep. It might come in different parts, so if the video ends, that's okay. Just subscribe to the channel, hit that alert bell, and make sure you stay tuned for the next video, which will continue from where we left off. We have a lot of footage and a lot to talk about, so I'm not sure we're going to get to it all in one day, but we are going to figure out the value and worth of Bo Nix. Now, if your team is not looking for a quarterback, like I know my team almost definitely isn't, certainly not someone in the first two rounds, you still might want to watch this just to get a perspective on the brilliant partner I have, Tony, the GM, who's the expert at picking quarterbacks. We will show you our process, exactly what we look at, and there's leaving no mystery. We're very objective. We leave all of the good plays, but we show the bad plays. We're not just looking at highlight reels. We're watching actual game footage and trying to see the quarterback's tendencies during the game. We also are tracking the types of throws they make. Which ones are college throws that any quarterback could make, and which ones are actually NFL draftable plays, plays that say, wow, that quarterback is making throws that would work in the NFL. So we're going to be very honest about it. Some of you might get angry at some of our critiques, depending on how you feel about the quarterback that we happen to be reviewing. But just bear with us. Just listen to what we're saying. You don't have to believe or buy into what we're saying. You don't. But we're just sharing our process. And guess what? Time is going to tell if we're wrong or right. This is documented. This is a video, obviously. I'm not taking it down. Even if we're 100% wrong, we will not take these videos down. We will either fly or die with this analysis. And if we're wrong, we will adjust our analysis and figure out where we went wrong. But take the ride with us. Let's see if we figured out something. Let's see if we figured out how to rate and value quarterbacks. We'll be right back right after this with Bo Nix. Are back. And you can see I got the film ready to go. These are about 30 cut plays from different games, all the way from when Bo Nix was in Auburn playing there to some games where he was with his current team, Oregon. Well, actually, no longer his current team, as he's entered the draft and waiting to see where he's going to play next professionally in the NFL. Let me introduce my GM, Frank, the GM. No, I'm just kidding. His name is not Frank. I'm thinking of my lunch already. His name is Tony. Guys, Tony, the GM, say hello.
How are you, Jeremy?
What's going on, Tony?
Everything's good. We discussed we're going to go over the draftable quarterbacks that everybody thinks are going in the first round. And I think the best one to start with is Bo Nix. I want to dig into every type of throw and show a little bit of everything. What do you think?
I think that sounds great. I try to put some sensible order to this. I definitely mixed in really good plays that he made, because I don't want this to, and really poor plays. I don't want anybody to think that we have an objective here. I want them to see that we're being honest. We're doing honest analysis, and we're showing a lot of different examples of his play. It's not a highlight reel. It's just plays that we thought were significant to show.
That's very important, Jeremy, because a lot of people, they make judgments on a quarterback based on pure highlights. Now, you could easily come up with a highlight video of the majority of quarterbacks in college and just run them over and over, and everybody will think that they're the real deal. But that's not how it works when you're evaluating a quarterback. Let's take a deep look at him.
Okay, let me make this screen as big as possible. And here's the first play. I believe this is a pretty okay play by him. We're going to get two angles. So the first angle sometimes is not the best, but it'll give us an idea of what happened. Here you can see him rolling. Throws it upfield for a nice play. But let's analyze the play on this angle. What are you seeing here, Tony?
I mean, it's a nice rollout right. The one thing I noticed with this film is that when he's moving, everything's normally directly in front of him. He doesn't scan the field. Definitely a nice throw. He shows nice touch.
Yeah, I thought that was a pretty good play. Okay, so now we see a really good throw for him. Let's see if there's. Notice he had a lot of time on that play here. The pocket's closing a little. He has to leave the pocket. And he has trouble a little bit with this pass. So trying to see if he could do this all the time.
Well, what I noticed when you're looking at his entire film is that he's never pressured. Normally, he's standing up and he has time on every throw. He is playing behind the best line in football in college. And it's very rare to see a pressure throw. So it's important that we take a deeper look at him under pressure.
Okay. Now I think this may be the play where he is under pressure. So we do have, I did, I specifically look for a play where he was under pressure to see how he handled it. And I looked for more, and let's see the results of what I found.
Okay. What do you think, Jeremy?
I think that's it's a decent college play. Like he runs, he gets himself some time, he makes a nice throw into the corner of the end zone. I don't know if that's going to work in the NFL because he didn't drop it in, and there's a reason why we drop it into the corner of the end zone, and that's because if you throw it chest high like that, NFL cornerbacks are probably going to knock that down.
Right. Now, this is also a rarity. It's a rollout. It's not really that much pressure. He's going away. He's throwing on the run. It's a corner end zone route that's not being completed against a pro cornerback. It's not. It needs more touch. I mean, there is a tight window there, so we'll give him the benefit of the doubt. But I'm not seeing much under pressure with him at all. If I remember correctly, when we looked at all his touchdowns, he was never hit. He never actually hit the floor on a touchdown. He's never delivering while being hit. And that's typical of his entire film. That's a dangerous sign going forward. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, well, let's look and see, throughout this, we'll see times where he's under pressure where, and we'll see how he performs. Just wondering if this was a quick throw, quick pass. These are like college plays to me. They're not bad. It's not critique, obviously, because they get the touchdown, but it's not something that makes me say I have to draft this player.
There's a lot of that on his tape. There's nothing really that steps out that says he's a draftable, he's a big time top 5 pick in the draft. Okay, his depth of target on most of his plays, he's the lowest in the country, basically. He's under 7 yards. He's a game manager.
And look at this play when he's under pressure.
Reminds me, right? This reminds me a little bit of, we've seen this a lot of on the Jets with Zach Wilson. I mean, bailing under pressure. It's if he's never under pressure, and this is what you see when he's under pressure, it's a little bit of a worrisome sight, don't you think?
The only thing he does right is he throws it away and he gets it out of bounds.
Right.
So, but there was no point in going. I mean, the risk factor in doing what he did, you just don't want to see that.
Right. He doesn't do that often, but it is a warning sign, especially since he doesn't have pressure. I mean, you really can't find many high-quality pressure throws. I don't see any on his film, any big-time throws. Exactly. You might find 1 or 2 on his entire film. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, and we're watching some of the stuff that would be on his highlights, right? I mean, I'll obviously not that scramble, but the first 2 plays I played were highlight reel plays. Just trying to point out the different, what we're going to be trying to do is we're looking for plays that are highlight worthy plays that make somebody draftable, that makes somebody say that's a quarterback I want to risk a first round or a second round pick on. and rate on the top of the list versus every other quarterback that has film just like this, where they're throwing touchdowns. I started with his more difficult, better ones, and I think we already established one of them was I think that second one to the left in the end zone, to the right side of the end zone, our right, was fine. The ones who are left, I agree with you. That's not a touchdown in the NFL when you have an NFL cornerback covering you. You can't throw a line drive to the corner of the end zone because we all know where the cornerback is going to be and where they're supposed to be on that play.
Exactly. Now, we're looking at this also. Now, we keep on going to the level of protection he has, the time he has in the pocket to throw. I haven't seen him turn his head yet on everything we've done. He's not scanning the field.
Yep.
It seems like he's a one-read quarterback who's going to stare down his receivers. What do you say? I mean, are you agreeing with what I'm saying to you?
Well, I want to show it on the tape. There's definitely some plays coming that we could point out. Is he scanning the field or is he just looking in one direction? And just for those of you who don't know, a quarterback in the NFL that doesn't turn his head, that looks in one direction, is a dead duck.
Right.
Pardon the pun, and there's no pun intended on that because he did play for the Ducks.
Right. And honestly, it's not. It's another danger sign when you're looking at an actual quarterback. Everybody gets infatuated with the actual highlights, especially when he drops back. He does show nice touch when he's going deep to his wide open receivers. He does show it at different levels. Nice touch. That's a nice thing to have, but you're not going to get those opportunities over and over in the pros. I mean, you might get 10 a year, on a wide open goal route, not even. You don't see that often. But when you do have it, you have to be able to hit it. But he hit it, yeah. But that's not how you make a living in the pros.
Let's take a look. This is a broken play. I want to see what happens here. This is always the better angle. Fakes the handoff, throws, incomplete. And to me, that wasn't a very catchable pass.
Right.
Let's go back.
Could you run that back again?
Yeah. I'm going to run that back. I mean, it was uncatchable. It went right through him.
Yeah, he seems to vary. Do you have any other pressure throws, or is that really, you never see him under pressure, do you?
It's so rare. It's mixed in here. I think I may have found two to put together because it's so rare he's under pressure. That's, but I mean, if we're going to find it, it's going to be more on his Auburn tape when he's playing some of the better teams.
Now, you made a great point on what you just said. You brought up Auburn. He's the only quarterback that they're looking at in the upper rounds that actually went backwards. Okay. Normally you jump up to a better situation. Correct?
Mm-hmm.
Right? You go to the tougher situation. He downgraded himself.
Right.
Now you have the question, did he improve over the couple of years? Or did he improve his situation? That makes a big difference because he went to the top offensive line with 2 pro receivers. He's not playing big-time defenses.
Right, and that's what's great about the older footage because it shows that when he is going against better competition. And for those of you who think, oh, well, he's young, he was 18, 19, he wasn't. Like, he was 21 2 years, when he was in Auburn. I mean, he's like 23, 24 now. I mean, or at least 23. He's not super young. He's the age that a lot of NFL quarterbacks are their rookie year.
Correct. Okay, let's bring up the next one.
Let's look at his pressure here. Now, that was a good one because he was under some pressure and he made a nice completion. Let's take a look at that again.
Correct. Now, when you're looking at that also, it seems like He's not. It's only directly in front of him when he's under pressure. He might have tunnel vision, which is something that you also need to look at when you're looking at a quarterback. Okay, it's a positive throw. He made the play. If you can't scan the field and that's all you're coming with, then you might have an issue in the pros.
Yeah, that is right in front of him. But it was pretty good
Right.
anticipation. He did keep his cool on that play. Now, my challenge was finding more like that. I think I found one other play where he was under pressure, where he was, where he was able to handle it. But then there's a lot of ugly tape. Some of it I didn't even want to show. It was so ugly. So I didn't want to butcher the kid. Okay, let's look at this next play. Look at that. Now, some people will blame the receiver, but still, this is gonna. There's so many examples of this. He just, for me, it feels like he throws at one speed when he's throwing those short little passes. And the only reason it bothers me so much, I'll tell you what, Tony, it bothers me because I watch so many quarterbacks, and there's other quarterbacks, film I watch. We have a guy we're going to talk about later in the year, that, a guy that nobody else is talking about, that only you and me love, where he's doing that perfectly every time. You never see it dropped. It's completely catchable. What happened there? And why am I seeing so many of his running backs drop the ball when they go off for those little screens?
Yeah, I mean, that's another warning sign that we see in the pros with Zach Wilson, correct?
Oh, yeah.
Right. I mean, it's the same exact thing that we see, but the catchability aspect of it is very important, especially since if you're going to be a game manager, he downgraded himself to, you got to make it a level. Obviously, he plays for a lower level conference, okay, with great protection. If you're going to move that up again to the higher level conferences, the SECs, or anything up there, that's a whole jump up. Now you're jumping this kid 2 levels up. Very important that he shows touch on particular, very ball speeds on throws like that to put a catchability level.
Okay, everybody, we're going to stop for today. But if you want to see the rest of this video and you want to see more plays, we have a lot more plays, but much better plays, but also other concerns about Bo Nix. If you want to see it, again, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. The next video will be out very shortly, so don't miss it. All you have to do is subscribe, and we'll be back again to finish this analysis. Thanks a lot, Tony.
You're very welcome.